Hello and good morning to all. Today we shall be learning about the various threats to biodiversity, under which we shall be knowing about the topics habitat loss, poaching of wildlife, man-wildlife conflicts in Indian context, and biological invasions. Okay, so let's begin. So definition states threats are the possibility of danger. Okay, with respect to the biodiversity, it refers to the risk factors associated with the loss of biodiversity. So the threats of biodiversity is a major concern because it not only affects the concerned species, rather it affects the entire ecosystem, because each species contributes its part in our ecosystem, isn't it? So if the particular species is affected, then the entire ecosystem will be affected. So out of many reasons, the natural factors as well as anthropogenical factors, the anthropogenical factors, that is the man-induced factors, human-induced factors, adds speed to the extinction or the loss of biodiversity. Okay, and in commercial term, if we say it is due to the human activities, that is the demand is increasing more than the supply. Okay, and we all know that if the demand exceeds the supply, then obviously there is an unbalance and it affects the entire content, isn't it? Okay, now major threats to biodiversity, first and foremost it's the habitat loss, that is the dwelling place of an organism, okay, is lost. Okay, deforestation adds a contributing part, is a major factor for habitat loss. Then is your climatic change. Okay, suppose in a particular area the favorable climate has changed, obviously it will affect the living species in that region. Okay, as for example the drought. Okay, suppose there is a drought in your area which was earlier very much flourished with full of water and all, grasses and all. Okay, due to the drought condition, what will happen? There will be lack of the food resources in terms of the grasses as well as the water. Okay, and the aquatic organism living in the water will also die. Okay, over exploitation of resources, obviously if you keep on killing a particular animal for meat purpose or for sport activities, okay, or for your personal satisfaction, okay, in the form of trophy hunting. Okay, so what will happen? The number will rapidly decrease and this will lead to the loss of the particular species. As for example, we have this Mauritius bird dodo, okay, which was hunted, okay, so extensively it was hunted that it got extinct. Okay, and then is your man wildlife conflicts. Okay, so we can say this is some sort of negative consequences bearing event. Okay, man wildlife conflict has always resulted into a negative impact in the form of damage to crops and to a greater extent to the loss of lives of both the animals as well as the human beings. Okay, and you might have heard various news about various human and animal conflicts in various regions of the country. Okay, illegal hunting and poaching. So illegal hunting and poaching mainly for the commercial purpose or for trading purpose. If the animals are being killed, obviously the number will rapidly decrease. Okay, we'll be seeing into these two topics, that is number fifth and number fourth and number fifth in the upcoming slides. Okay, there I'll be explaining in a elaborate manner. Okay, nutrient enrichment. Okay, you might have seen in aquatic bodies, in ponds especially, there is green contact everywhere on the surface of the water, right? Actually that is that is called as algal bloom. Okay, when the nutrient content of the water increases, the algae, this algae, they divide and increase their number very rapidly, that is very fast. Okay, and in turn what they do is to cover the penetrating sunlight. Okay, thereby less amount of sunlight entering the lower part of the or the inner part of the pond, as well as choking the various type aquatic animals. Okay, in this way it hampers the species living in and around the area. Okay, large scale development projects, as for example dam construction, okay, and highway construction, etc., this also interferes with the natural ecosystem of that particular area. Environmental pollutions, various type of pollutions, okay, released in the environment as a result of development projects. Okay, so this also affects the biodiversity. Invasive species, that is most of the alien species which are not native to a particular region of the country. Okay, they are known to cause a great negative extent, we will be seeing in the upcoming slides. Then natural calamities, of course, natural calamities such as forest fire, tsunamis, etc., heavy floods, etc. These are all some of the other factors responsible for the loss of biodiversity. But in comparison to the natural factors, the anthropological factors are a matter of concern. Okay. So habitat loss. Habitat refers to the dwelling place of an organism. Okay. It includes the terrestrial, aquatic, okay, and arboreal type of habitats. Okay, habitat loss indicates about the loss of the favorable and dwelling environment. Obviously, where do you like to reside or do you like to live? Okay, the place which is suitable in every aspect, in terms of food, safety, isn't it? In terms of water, right? So in terms of saving ourselves from any sort of threats, okay, be it natural or man-made threats. Okay, so various type of animal species, mostly the wild animals, they live in a forest or jungle area, isn't it? And in terms of the terrestrial animals I'm speaking, and for the aquatic animals, they live in the water. Okay, various type of water bodies. So if suppose in the forest area, if we go and we cut a particular tree, that particular tree might be inhabiting a number of species, okay, starting from birds, snakes, small mites, etc. Okay, and most importantly, the various type of microorganisms or subspecies, okay, which flourishes on the ground, they are also affected. Okay, they most of the species, they take shelter among the roots of tree species. So indirectly we are hampering, okay, just for satisfying our need, we are hampering the organisms ranging from small microscopic to large microscopic level, isn't it? Various sort of developmental projects like industrial plants, hydroelectric projects, extension of urban areas, okay, large scale deforestation, mining works, etc., are responsible for this habitat loss. Here you can see in the picture, a particular bird is feeding its chicks, isn't it? So for feeding its particular chicks, it needs worms, etc. So where would it get the worm? If deforestation is done and completely the land is devastated, okay, there will be no sustenance of living species, then they will not get food. Okay, that means habitat loss not only affects the dwelling place of a particular organism, rather it affects the food resources also. Okay. Next, large scale development projects, as for example, you can see the industrial setup, the dam construction, the mining works, the urbanization, okay, use of the croplands, okay. As for example, in the lower middle picture, you can see the a large number of forest area has been cleared, okay, and the crop production is being done, okay. So the crops won't, okay, give you the equal amount of factors responsible for maintaining ecological balance as compared to big trees, etc. Okay, so mostly the timber logging, etc., these are all various factors which are responsible for habitat loss. Okay, so now, as for example, to be specific, the construction of dams leads to the submergence of land area. Okay, so and as you can see in the first picture, there is a dam constructed. In one side you can see the water is expanded very widely, right? And initially there must have been few plants and all, okay, on that particular land, and as a result of the construction of the dam, what happened, the river body, it became wide, okay, and followed by the submergence of the plant area inhabiting that particular area. So as a result of waterlogging, right? So this led to the loss of the species which were dwelling earlier in that particular area, and among the species there might be very important plant species or very important animal species, who knows, right? Okay, then introduction of human settlements. Okay, so if you have to settle human beings, you need to clear the forest land area, isn't it? And first, by clearing the forest land area means you are contributing to deforestation, and various consequences are associated with it. Now, as a result of various outcomes. Now, and the construction of road within the forest area. Okay, so it also requires large scale clearing of the vegetation cover of that particular area, which leads to extensive habitat loss of wildlife. In the next picture, you can see the plight of squirrel, okay, as because the tree is being cut, okay, we know squirrel dwells in the trees, right? So with this picture we can understand that deforestation not only affects the living species uh, physically but also emotionally as well, okay. So natural like I said, there are factors of natural calamities as well, which is responsible for habitat loss. But these are very lesser in comparison to the human activities. Means the rate of occurrence is very less as compared to that of the human activities. Okay, so the natural calamities includes the floods, volcanic eruptions, forest fires, heavy floods, etc. Okay, heavy floods leads to waterlogging conditions. Forest fire leads to complete uh, burning of that particular area. We might have heard about various news of the Australian forest, Amazon forest, etc. Okay, being burnt and lots of species getting affected. Volcanic eruption, when the lava flows comes out, it either it may flow to the grassland area, right, forest area, land area, or in the aquatic bodies. In either of the cases, it affects the area. Okay, then however, some of the other factors such as human desires, grief for or human greed for maybe this sort of import, extracting these useful materials and selling it into the market, okay, for getting huge amount of money. So this sort of greeds, human desires, such as in the form of recreational hunting, etc. Okay, so this also affects the loss of biodiversity. Poaching of wildlife refers to the illegal hunting of wildlife, right? That is capturing, trading, right, of species of wild animals, okay, or endangered animals or plants, maybe. So it is an environmental crime against the natural resources. Okay, poaching is regarded as an environmental crime against the natural resources. So now poaching is carried out with the intention of collecting and selling the plant and animal products such as ivory, okay, horn, teeth, skin and bone for fulfilling human intention, such as most of the times they sell the animal and plant product for medicinal purposes, okay. And in for this greed satisfying intentions, they destroy a large number of species, ultimately threatening the species. The consequence of which, that is the poaching of wildlife, is rapid decrease in the population of plants and animal species, like I mentioned earlier, thereby affecting the biodiversity. So here you can see this is a picture representation of various endangered plants and animal species, and time to time they are being caught. The miscreants are being caught. Okay, so you can see the first picture. These are Indian star turtles. Okay, which are critically endangered and they are being preserved in India. So next is your tusks of elephants, followed by sundew or Venus flytrap, which is an insectivorous plant. Okay, then you can see the tiger skin, and then the various animals which are killed for bushmeats. Okay, then the ginseng plant and the tiger skin, you can see the horns of the rhinoceros, you can see, and the cactus plant. These are all endangered and they are protected. Okay, any sort of illegal hunting, trading or poaching is not allowed. So various legal measures and provisions has been formulated by the government under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, okay, which is amended from time to time, okay, for dealing with such crimes. Okay, the other major central acts relevant to this biodiversity are the Indian Forest Act 1972, the Forest Conservation Act 1980, and the Environment Protection Act 1986. Okay, these are few of the acts which are formulated for protecting okay, the wildlife. Okay, okay, for trading of the endangered species, there is a convention on international trade in endangered species of fauna and flora, okay, which is drafted as a result of resolution adopted in 1963 and entered into force in 1st July 1973. It is an international agreement amongst countries to protect wild flora and fauna all over the world. Now, endangered species, what do you mean by endangered species? So these are basically these the species whose numbers has decreased, okay, drastically, and if not conserved, they may, if not protected or conserved, they may go into extinction. Okay, we may lose them forever. Okay, so we know that various sort of animals are being traded for medicinal purposes to pay all over throughout the entire countries, okay, all over the world. So just to stop this illegal trading, there is a convention on international trade in endangered species which preserves and protects the wild species, critically endangered wild species, okay, so that they may not go into extinction, okay. Man wildlife conflicts with respect to the Indian context, okay. What do you mean by this man wildlife conflicts? So basically it is the interaction between human being and the wild animals, okay, mostly which results into a negative consequences in terms of loss of crops and lives, okay. So these are this type of conflicts arises mostly due to the human population increases and interference with the wildlife, okay. So let us go through and the other slide. World Wildlife Fund for Nature defines conflicts as any interaction between human and wildlife that results in negative impact on human, social, economic or cultural life, on the conservation of wildlife population and on the environment. Obviously, if there is a conflict arising between two groups, individuals, okay, then there is a negative consequences of damage to life, okay, damage to property, okay, and psychologically and emotionally also it affects the living organism, okay. Although man wildlife conflict is as old as human civilization, obviously there were conflicts earlier also. Most of them were accidental or due to the due to hunger, okay, or due to protecting oneself, the conflicts were arising. Although man-wildlife conflict is as old as human civilization, in modern times the degree of conflict has been on the rise due to high rise in the population. Obviously, if the population is high rising, that means the demand is increasing. If the demand is increasing, that means you need more supply. So what will the individuals do? They will tend to build their houses in a forest located area, okay, and affecting the habitats of other living organisms, right? So since human population expand into the wild habitats, natural wild territory is displaced, isn't it? As you can see from the first picture in the slide, the tree houses are being constructed in a particular mountain region. Earlier, there must have been a full of vegetation cover in that particular area, but as a result of the increase in population, okay, slowly the vegetation cover is depleting, okay, the area is decreasing. So that forest cover might be inhabiting a large number of animal species, important animals and plant species, but as a result of the encroachment by the human beings, the numbers is greatly reduced, okay, and this leads to the conflicts among the various animals and human beings. The wild animals mostly they come out of their natural habitat in search of food, okay. Reduction, the first and foremost things which happens when the human population increase is they need more supply, they need more area, okay, as a result of which they expand their territory and move across the wildlife area, then which leads to the reduction in the availability of natural prey, okay, because human beings they hunt the prey of the other carnivorous animals, wild animals which are dwelling in the forest area, and thereby decreasing the amount of prey will automatically make the animal to come out of its natural area habitat, okay. As for example, the tigers and lions, most of the time you might have heard that the tigers and lions come out of the natural area into the rural and urban population in search of food, and mostly they do this cattle lifting, okay. Then the wild animals they seek alternate resources, okay, when the natural habitat are and the food is resources is destroyed, okay. So it, as for example, human beings dwell in a particular area and then they tend to cultivate various type of crops and herd various type of animals, okay, they domesticate various type of animals, okay. So this sort of products, the crops as well as the domesticated animals, they attacked, or they attack the wild animals, okay, and as the number of prey declines in the natural forest area, so it is easy for them to come into the human settlement area, because they will be getting their food, isn't it? So in this regard also the conflict arises when they enter the human populated area. Alternately, new resources created by humans draw wildlife consulting in conflict, like I mentioned now. Competition for food resources occurs, okay, when humans attempt to harvest natural resources in the form of fish or grassland pastures, and as well as domestication of animals as well. Okay, as you can see in the third picture, the tree elephants are rushing towards the banana plantation, okay, thereby leading to crop riding as well as conflicts. So here are examples of various type of conflicts between different type of animals, the reason for the conflict, and the parts of in which they are occurring in our country. Okay, so just to mention, mostly the conflicts occurs as a result of livestock depredating, child lifting, okay, crop raiding, etc. So you can go through this slide and see each of the points one by one. Okay, mostly the conflicts arises as a result of cattle. The types of conflicts which arises are conflict, this cattle lifting, accidental encounter leading to the loss of human lives, okay, livestock feeding, etc. So here I've mentioned all these the individual conflicts which are taking places, okay, among various animals and human beings. I have prepared a brief points, brief concepts about all these conflicts. You can go through the slides one by one. Okay, as for example, the human tiger conflict. Mostly, if we have to know the about the human tiger conflict, we need to study about the area Sundarban and the Kanha National Park. Okay, because these two area shows a different contrasting type of tiger and human interactions. In the Sundarbans, mostly the tigers uh, go for killing the human beings. Okay, but in Kanha National Parks, it is only restricted to cattle lifting. In some of the cases, one to few cases, you may heard about this killing of animals or killing of human beings. That is the tiger being man-eater. Okay. The Sundarbans, mostly it is situated in the along with this West Bengal and Bangladesh region. Okay, and this Sundarbans is famous for these Royal Bengal tiger and Sundari trees. Mostly in the Sundar groups we will find the mangrove forest. Mangrove forests are the type of forest which grows in the high saline area. Okay, that is high salty water conditions, which grows in high salty water conditions. These are mostly the shrubs and the trees, combination of shrubs and trees. And very typical character of the mangrove forest in Sundarban area is that there are roots coming out from the soil, okay, or coming out from the ground, which have small pores, okay, for respiration. Now, many reasons have been suggested, including high level of water salinity and very low prey availability, okay, for the tigers to encounter, come face to face with the human beings. Okay, then the Sundarban attracts a large number of forest users, mostly the fishermen, the honey collectors, leaf collectors, and shrimp farmers. Okay, so when they go into the forest area for collecting this sort of products, mostly they come in contact with the tigers and conflicts arises. The Kanha National Park, okay, it presents a different scenario in comparison with that of the Sundarbans. As for example, this Sundarban tiger, they mostly go for man eating. Okay, but the Kanha National Park's tiger, they are restricted to cattle lifting only. Okay, that is taking away the kettles. Okay, but in some cases we might also heard we may also hear about this man eating, the tiger becoming this man eater. Okay, human leopard conflicts mostly in the Garhwal and Kumaon. These are two divisions of Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Okay, so human injury and loss of livestock, predation, etc. Right, these are the various type of conflicts which occurs when the leopard encounters the humans of that particular area. Okay, you may see this leopard roaming in an area in the house of someone, right? Human snow leopard conflicts mostly in the Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, that is the upper Himalayan region. Okay, they are not known. Snow leopard are not known to attack humans. Rather, they only are involved in the livestock depredation. But As a result of loss of the cattle and domesticated animals by the inhabited area by the human beings, human populations, they go for revenge killing. Okay, revenge killing, as a result of which they kill these small leopards. You can see in the third picture the leopard is carrying away a dog, I think. Okay. Now, human lion conflict, mostly in the gill protected areas we encounter this sort of conflicts. Okay. Among the gill protected areas there lives Maldhari community which herds various type of cattle. Okay, there is goat, sheep and buffaloes, etc. And mostly the lion ventures into the agricultural fields and human habitations at night to search for food. Okay, loss of patches of the lions during the daytime they forces the lion to move into the densely populated areas. In the last picture you can see a lion okay, taking some rest in the human populated areas. Okay, so human wolf conflict. Wolf are mostly known for child lifting. Okay, none of the other animals are involved in child lifting, but this wolf especially they are involved in this sort of activities. Okay, Indian grey wolves mostly they are found in the north central and western India. They are not, they have a history of child lifting. Okay, now other conflicts which arises due to the interaction between human and wolf are this livestock predation as well. Okay, human bear conflicts, mostly three species of Indian bears are known to involved in the conflicts, that is the sloth bear, the Himalayan bear, the Asian black bear. Okay, and out of these three, the brown bear occurs largely in the form of livestock predation. That is the brown bear, it comes and it eats away the livestock. Okay, on the other hand the sloth bear have to be known as human injurer, or you can say which gives injury to human beings. Okay, that is also by accidental encounters. The bears are normally they do not tend to attack the animals, the other tend to attack the human beings, but out of accidental encounters they may do it. Okay, human reptile conflict, we know this is prevailing towards the entire region of our country, that be it intentionally or accidentally. Most of the time the snakes, okay, they used to come into our houses for eating the rats, or they used to come in search of various sort of foods in or grains, rats or grains, etc., isn't it? Then time to time we need to call the snake, okay, catcher. Then you can see the snakes, they are involved in accidental encounters also with human beings, most of the time knowingly or unknowingly. They, in terms of protection measures, as a countermeasures, the snake they bite human beings. Okay, because we know snakes are very shy type of animals, they only do so just for protecting themselves. Okay, so most of the times accidental encounter occurs. Okay, and the scorpions as well also, they mostly they come accidentally into the human populated area, or they fall under the foot of some individual. Okay, and in this way they hurt the individual. And then you can see the monitor lizard. Okay, which is mostly this type of conflict is mostly occurring in the West Bengal area of India. Okay, where the monitor lizard is known to attack human beings as well. You can see in the lower right picture, extreme lower right picture, a man's hand is injured by the alligator. Monitor's lizard. Human bird or bat conflict. Okay, most of the time you can see the birds mostly they feed on the grains. Okay, so during the cropping seasons the birds mostly they come and they feed on the various type of grains. So if it is the feeding is to a greater extent, obviously this will result to the lowering the production of the crops, and ultimately it will affect the economy. Okay, then the peacocks, mostly they are known as crop riders. Okay, because they come into the crop produced area, and then they used to destroy the crops, they eat some of the fruits, okay, or the crops grown in that particular area. As for example, you can see here a peacock is eating maize and watermelon. Then the bats, they are mostly bats, and these parakeets, that is the parrots, Indian parrot, ring parrot, they are known to eat the fruits of a particular area, and in this regard it is ultimately we can link this to that of the economic decline. Okay, if too much of birds and bats are feeding on the fruits of a particular area, obviously the farmers economic condition will be very much poor, because he won't be able to sell the uh, fruits in the market. Okay, and mostly the fresh fruits are being sold in the market, not the eaten away fruits as well. So most of the times we've seen the animals, they partially eat a particular fruit, in this way hampering. Okay, and then you can see birds mostly they come in competition with that of the fishermen. See the seabirds. Okay, when fishermen goes for fishing, you can see the seabirds surrounding their boats. Okay, in this way they used to hamper in, okay, in the process of fishing. And then you might have also heard about the incidents of accidentally getting into the plane raptor, or this fan wings, etc. Okay, airplane. So this type of accidental encounter happens, and these are the various human bat or bird conflicts in our country.